Hi, I'm Shannon Skipper here from Square. Today we're taking a look at Square's in-app payments plugin for Flutter. So to get started, you'll want to first install Flutter, which you can do by following the Flutter Getting Started guide. Check out the description in the link. Once you've done that, let's start by creating the basic Flutter demo app. You can do this by running flutter create, and then we'll pick an app name. Let's say charge_card. So we'll cd into charge card, and then open this project up in Android Studio. Flutter works for both iOS and Android, but I'm going to use Android Studio today and focus on the Android app. So here's the basic Flutter app. Let's go ahead and get it started in our emulator. So I'll open up a little Pixel phone here, and we'll go ahead and launch the app. So while the app launches, we'll take a look at what Flutter has generated for us here with Flutter create charge card. So this is a stateless widget. We have the swatch color and like my homepage title. So let's go ahead and edit those. So we'll, instead of Flutter demo homepage, we'll say Flutter payments app. Okay, great. And then let's look down at what this app does. So there's an int counter. So this is a counter and then an increment variable. Let's go ahead and remove this counter. We'll not be using it. And we'll change our main function from increment counter to pay. Before we do that, let's take a look at what the app does. So we press the button, it increments the counter. That is it. This is what this demo app does. So we have changed the title. Let's go ahead and change the color from blue to green since we're taking a payment. And when we hit save, a neat thing about Flutter is it's going to do a hot reload here. So it still has we hit the button 9 times. Now it's a green background. So let's get into it. So if we go down to this button, it says you've pressed the button this many times. Let's change that to something like make a payment. Okay, perfect. So reload, and there it reflects on the screen. And we don't need this counter, so I'm going to get rid of the text with the number. And then let's also delete this function contents for incrementing the counter and just replace it with a placeholder to pay. And then we'll get rid of the counter and change the callback in the onPressed to be pay. And then we'll change a couple of these tooltips for payments, and then the icon, we get some nice code completion here, we can do payment. And then we reload, and we have a charge button. So if we click it, it does nothing because right now that function is actually unimplemented. We just have the placeholder stub here. So let's go ahead and add the Square In-App Payments plugin. So to do that, we'll open up the directory and we'll go down to the pubspec.yaml where Flutter dependencies are declared. And then in there, we'll add Square In-App Payment, and it is version 1.1.0. Okay, in-app payments, plural. And then when we save, okay, great. And then I know that we've generated an app that has an older SDK version. So let's jump into the Android app build.gradle, and we'll bump the min SDK version up to 21. This is just because the Flutter plugin is pretty new. So on later versions of Android Studio, you won't need to do this, but right now we do. So now that the app has reloaded, we have Square In-App Payments available. So let's hop back to our main lib main.dart, and we'll go ahead and implement in-app payments. So first things first, let's do the import. So import, we'll start typing. It's going to auto-complete here. Let's grab the models. We'll use that. And then let's import the package, and we'll grab the main in-app payments.dart. Perfect. So we need to add our semicolons here, and then the grayed out nature of these shows that we're currently not using them. As we actually use the methods from these two modules, then we will see those come back to normal color. So under void pay, let's go ahead and start typing in-app payments. We can auto-complete out. And the first thing we're going to want to do is set our Square application ID. So this ID you can get from the Square developer portal. I have it pulled up here on Safari. So let's make a new application. What do we call this? Charge card. So I've copied the application ID, and I'll paste that in this field. So the in-app payments function could actually be called just once, but it doesn't matter here. We're just going to go ahead and call it inside the pay function. So the meat of what we want to do here is actually pop up a credit card entry so someone can enter a credit card on their own mobile device. So let's go ahead and do in-app payments, and we need to do, let's see. Let's look at the autocomplete options. It is start card entry flow. So this function is going to need two callbacks that we can name ourselves. So we need to do on card nonce request success, and I will just lazily name our callback function card nonce request success. And then we also need to do on card entry cancel. So basically the two options here are you've successfully entered your card and get back the nonce, which is a one-time use token, or the user has canceled the payment flow and we want to go back to our shopping cart or whatever it is we're doing. So I'll just, again, lazily name on card entry cancel, card entry cancel. And we have now defined our pay function. So you'll notice that the card nonce request success and card entry cancel are both underlined in red. That's because we haven't defined those functions. So let's go ahead and do that. So first off, it'll return void. We'll do the card entry cancel. That's an easy one. So in our case, there's actually nothing we want to do when a user cancels the input. There might be in your case, but it's fairly typical to just have this not really do anything because you might want to edit your shopping cart or whatever it is you're charging for. So we'll just put a note in here that says canceled card entry. And then, so that went blue, fantastic. And then we'll do another function. We'll define when we do get a successful card nonce request. So we'll do card nonce request success. I'll just paste that. We can name these anything we want. I'm just calling them based on their functions. Okay, great. So in card nonce request success, oh, actually it's still red here because this function is actually going to give us back card details. So perfect. We'll go ahead and add that. This is the type. It's a card details, and we'll just call this result. So perfect. So if you successfully enter a card, we'll just print here the result and the nonce. This is the bit that we're trying to get back. Fantastic. And then let's do the meat of the thing. So if you are successful, you will get to in-app payments dot, and it'll be complete card entry. And again, this is going to let us name what we want the function callback to be called. So once again, I'm going to just name it after this function, and you don't have to do that, but that makes it so we don't have to think about naming. So on card entry complete, we'll call card entry complete. And it's complaining because we have not implemented the function. So let's implement this function as well. Card entry complete. And we'll just, on this one, put we'll just say success. Okay, great. So let's go ahead and reload Flutter. I'll go ahead and just do a full reload here so it can grab the in-app payments plugin. And while we do that, let's look over the code. So we have a green background. It should say Flutter Payments App up top. And then we are going to have a button, a payment button that before did nothing. And now it will pop up a card. So while this loads, other things we could do with the in-app payments plugin, we could add popular wallets. We could add Google Pay, Apple Pay. We could also customize the look and feel of the card entry. So we'll see here in a moment that it's at launch. So let's go ahead and hit the card. And fantastic. So here's the card. We could customize the color of the title bar where it says add card up here, or the error numbers, or all sorts of aspects of this, the font. So let's go ahead and start entering a card. So if we start entering one, we see this nice animation. I'm going to use 41111, which is just sort of a demo card. And you see if there's errors here, they'll pop up in the card flow. But let's go ahead and do a successful one. So when I hit save, fantastic.
And success, we have a nonce to make a payment. So in the output, you'll see we got a card nonce back. The way this works is that the user enters their card details, and if they've entered a potentially valid card, we receive a nonce. This is a one-time use token, which we will send to your backend to make a payment using Square's API. So that's it for in-app payments for Flutter. We also have in-app payments for React Native, iOS, Android, and support for popular wallets like Google Pay and Apple Pay. Take a look at the links in the description and let us know if you have any questions or comments. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching.